Welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Live Podcast. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We're a podcast that brings the community to you every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, the founder of Chozen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, empower, motivate, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for commenting, and coming back again. I thank you because when you do that, that helps us to keep on doing it. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like us so that you know every time we go live. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so you can always see when we go live as well. Friends, I hope you enjoyed last month's series. Oh, shucks. We had Brandy with Confidence. We had Yolanda with Grief Speaks. We had Andrea with Beyond the Beat and Rachel with Show Me the Money. Friends, it was a good series. If you missed the episode, go catch that rewind. I'm sure it will be something to help you along this journey. Whew. So friends, we are in a new month, and this month's theme is Jen's Boot Camp. Yes, we are now in a boot camp. Why? Because September snuck up on us, okay? And when September leaves us, there are 3 more months in this year: October, November, December. And we need to get some things in order before the new year comes, friends, because there's some things that we said we was going to do in January. Actually, we said we was going to do it in December, and we didn't quite do it. I'm working on some stuff that I got to finish up this year too. So you are not alone, friends. But this month we are going to get it together. And tonight we have the amazing guest to kick off our boot camp, talking about forgive and forget. And I know 2 words that you don't want to go together because you ain't trying to embrace them. I'm not always trying to embrace them all the time either. Can I be honest? I'll take it for us. I got our back tonight, okay? But tonight we're going to talk about forgive and forget with the amazing Carmel Williams. So help me welcome our guest tonight, Miss Carmel Williams. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I am wonderful. Wonderful.
I am so glad to hear that. I am so grateful to have you on this evening. And friends, let me just let y'all know she's ready. She about to get up in our business. So we're going to do our quote and then we're going to get out the way. Over here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, forgiveness is the needle that knows how to mend. Joel. Again, forgiveness is the needle that knows how to mend. What are your thoughts on that?
It definitely is. In order to mend anything, and it can be put back together and all of those things, you have to be able to forgive. If it's the needle is what is causing the things to connect back together. So in order for us to be able to even use it, we got to be able to forgive.
Forgiveness is the needle. What if that needle I felt like was cutting me and stabbing me and jamming me?
And you know what? Here's what I say to that. Forgiveness is one of those things that is hard to do, but it's doable. But it is the key to being free of it. You know, people tend to say that when you do forgiveness, you forgive and it's for other people. And that's true. However, when it's coming from you, you're the first partaker of that forgiveness.
Yes. And it does make you feel a lot better when you make it happen.
Yes, it does. And I oftentimes say forgiveness is a gift because everybody don't have it.
Everybody don't have it.
And everybody's not willing to do it. You know what I mean? Everybody's not willing to do it. You just said that it is hard. You know, everybody doesn't want to do it. But I found in my life that it's what frees me. Because listen, what if God would peel back the things that he forgave you for? See, if he turned us inside out and the things that we still harbor, what if he never?
Mm.
He the best secret keeper, I tell you. Right? What if he did that? And I was reading as I was thinking about what was going to be said. Matthew 6:15 says, if you do not forgive others
Mm.
of their trespasses, neither will the Father forgive you. Yeah, it's hard, but it's doable.
It's hard, but it's doable.
Because he did it. He came
Oh
example of
no.
forgiveness.
Wait a minute. Here we go. Say it again.
I say he's the ultimate example of forgiveness.
Yes.
He is. We can't be Christ-like and say we're following him and we don't follow his teachings. You know what I mean? We just can't. And I'm not taking, Jen, I'm not taking that it is not hard. And that's why I was saying, if I could share my testimony, I don't know, to probably answer some of your questions as to how I got to where I am, because I was like you. That's why I can say that it's doable, right? So when I was 17 years old in 1988, a senior in high school, my mother was murdered by the man that raised me. Right? Now, people would say, you know, people get murdered all the time. I'm my only child. It always was me and my mother. My mother was my best friend. She was my everything. You know, my dad wasn't in my life, but he was around, if that makes sense. But this man bought me my first bike, my first color TV, taught me how to ride the bike. He did all of those things, you know, for me in my life. But at 17, my mother and him had decided that, you know, they won't go their separate ways. And he did not take it too well, followed her for 3 weeks to find out where we had moved. And once he found out where she lived, he got in the building, right? And he broke in her apartment and sat and wait for her to get off from work. They tussled. He stabbed my mother. Right? He put everything that he ever touched, like he burned her with cigarettes. He tortured her little body. And he then put her in the bed and set her on fire. And left the house. No, he stayed in all night. Let me go back to that. He stayed in all night. Everything that he touched, he's stuffed it inside my mom. You know, he did all of that. Put her in the bed and set the bed on fire. Stayed all night. Right? Walked across the street. And this was the time when we still had payphones. Called the fire department and the police and waited for them to leave. Right? Horrible. I'm an only kid, right? How do you get over that?
Whew.
Only by the grace of God, when God got a purpose. Because at 17, Jen, I wasn't saved. Right? I didn't have a relationship, but it goes to show you that when God has a plan and a purpose for your life, we don't get to say how it's manifested. He does that, right? He orders the steps, but he doesn't give us more than we can bear. See, I know that as well. So, he did all of that. Y'all, I was crushed. I was mad. You know what I mean? I was mad. I was hurt. I didn't even know how to feel, you know, because I didn't understand how you love somebody, but you do this to them. So that's where my bitterness, that's where my anger, you know what I mean, came towards him. And I carry that, y'all. So I know when people say, I can't do that, because I've been there. I know. How would I forgive you and you set my mother on fire? You know what I mean? You did all of those things, but you said you loved her. You love me, you loved her. How do you do that? Right? So 14 years into his life sentence, he got life plus 30 years. 14 years into this his sentence, right? I was in the military. I just retired in February. 24 years, yep. And I was in the gym, and one of the guys that came in was on his way to work. And this is just, I just want to set this so you can see how God moved, how God's plan always comes full circle, right? Now, by this time, I done gotten saved. I'm married to a minister. I'm singing, I'm preaching, I'm teaching, I'm doing all of this stuff at the church I was at and all of that, right? Telling people forgive and you know, doing all of that stuff.
Yes.
And then when I met this gentleman, he came and I said, where you going? He said, I'm getting ready to go to work. I got to go up here with these knuckleheads. I said, oh, where you work at? He said where he worked at. And I was like, oh, the man that killed my mom is in there. Right? 14 years. I had not heard, you know, other than my own bitterness, my own anger. That's what I dealt with, right? And saying that it was out of sight, out of mind is what it was, if I just be honest. Out of sight, out of mind. If he wasn't nowhere near, nobody talked about him, I didn't think about it. But it still resonated with me, you know? And so when I told him his name, he said, for what? He knew him. He knew him. Out of all of the inmates in that prison, you knew this man.
Wow.
Right? So he was like, I said, well, when you go there, here I go. You know, when you go there, tell him Carmel said, hey, you know, or whatever. He said, okay. When he left out, this is where the Holy Ghost began to speak, because it came out without me really saying. You know how sometimes God said, open your mouth and I'll word it?
Yes.
He did it. And he said, okay, now is the time to shut up or put up. You can't keep preaching and teaching and singing and doing all of this and telling people to do something that you have yet to do. Right? So that made me go back to my room, and I had to really think about it, you know, sit in my own stuff. Tears flying. That next day he came back. He said, Stephen want to know if he can write you, if he writes the warden, would you come and see him? Open my mouth. I was getting ready to say, well, next thing I know, yeah, tell him to write me. It just kept coming just like that. Well, needless to say, 2 weeks later, I was going to the prison to see him. Listen, y'all, my whole family stopped talking to me for about 3 months because they still harbored anger. But see, God was using me as the example that he had already set before me by forgiving me of the stuff that he ain't even told nobody about, right? So when I get to the prison, y'all, I'm saying, he's not going to know who I am. You know, this, that, and the other. My stomach is turning because I don't know how to feel, right? And when I walk in the prison, you have like a short wall and you got like a little bit of where you can hug real quick, right? Well, when I went in, I stood at the wall thinking that he would know who I was. He walked directly over to me, y'all. He threw his hands up, tears running down his face. He said, God, I know this is the day that you have made. If I was anywhere else, I would be rejoicing and being glad in it. Listen, he reached out to hug me, y'all. I reached out to hug him. And he was doing this pity-pat. Said, listen, I didn't drive all this way for you to pity-pat me. And I locked into him. And I know I felt the presence of God. And I said, I love you, Stephen, and I forgive you with the love of God. When I said that, I'm telling you, I no longer needed to know why. I no longer felt the need for you to tell me what happened. All the questions that I had went out the window. And I know that's when God gave me the gift of the Holy Ghost. And you know what else he said? He said, Carmel, he's already made it right. You were on your way to a burning hell. Now, why was I going to go to hell and I hadn't even killed nobody? So when I forgave him, and when I tell y'all it was not a thought, Jen, in my mind. I didn't care why he did it. I didn't care none of that. I didn't care about it. I was asking him questions like, what have you done with your life? What you been doing? Have you talked to this one? It just was a conversation just like that. I had no need to go back and reminisce on what had happened. Because here's the truth. It wasn't going to bring her back, and it wasn't going to change the fact that he was where he was and she was where she was.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tell you that it's doable, if I can forgive that, if God gave me the gift and the strength to forgive that, understand when I say it's doable, you just got to be willing to do it.
Mm.
Because here's the truth too, if we put ourselves in transgressors' way, because we've not, listen, now I'll be sitting here saying, and I know I'm not by myself, we've done some stuff to people that we want them to forgive that they probably won't ever forgive. So just know how you feel.
Mm.
He
Wow.
sat there, and let me tell you something. Can you imagine this? Because he told me this. He said, Carmel, if I could explain to you what my life has been like here, he said it would be free, but still bound.
Mm.
Because he's able to be free in his mind because he's accepted Christ in his life. He's
Mm-hmm.
done got a law degree, so he's like the jail lawyer. He got a business degree, so he's staying busy. So he's free to walk through the jail, but yet he's still bound because
Mm-hmm.
he's still behind four walls. He still goes behind cell doors. That's how some of us live in unforgiveness.
Whew.
That's it. That's how we live in unforgiveness. We are inside of four walls that we are only peeking through the door. That's just and that's my life. And he gave me that to be able to forgive as my life was going on through divorce, through people hurting me. You know what I mean? Leaving and having to give up stuff and give up people. But still had to forgive them, even when I wasn't the one that did the wrong.
Even when I wasn't the one that did the wrong.
So I think about that. I oftentimes think about this too. What if God doesn't forgive me? What if he did not forgive me?
Mm. Mm.
Just turn us inside out sometime and let people see what's really on the inside of us. Stuff that we're harboring that nobody knows. If he was just to be able to pull it back.
Mm.
Be like oftentimes I remember a guy gave me a sermon one time, be like a banana. A banana is soft on the inside and then it has that skin on the outside. But guess what? Even if you prick that skin, if that skin is brown on the outside, it's brown on the inside. You can pull the skin back and reveal all of the bruises that banana has, right?
Mm-hmm.
We cover up like that sometimes.
Mm.
We do.
We do.
I don't know if I answered your questions, but that's just where God had just let me.
Yes.
It just is. And then think about this. How would life be to be able to be free of unforgiveness and to be able to see that person and not even think about what has happened?
Mm.
Because that's how God sees us.
Yeah.
If he throws it into the sea of forgetfulness, Jen, never to remember it again, that's our example. Why are we thinking about it? You know what we say? God knows my heart. He does, but that's an excuse.
Mm-hmm. Come on, get us.
Right? He knows my heart. But that's an excuse. Because when he forgave us, he didn't say, I know your heart.
Mm.
No, he said, I'm throwing it into the sea of forgetfulness, never to remember it again. I'm telling you. That's just and I love talking about forgiveness, and it don't always feel good to people, and I don't always get good feedback sometimes, but I know that it helps because when you recognize, I use this scenario too about something being shattered and something being broken.
Yes.
If you take a glass and it's just broken, it'll break in big pieces to where you'll be able to put it back together again and get some use of the original use, right? But when something is shattered,
come on.
You cannot put it back together to get, even if you were able to piece them, guess what? There's going to be holes and you will not get any of the original use because it is shattered. When something is shattered, what do? We sweep it up, we put it in the trash, and we go and replace that glass if that was our favorite glass, or that cup, right? If it was our favorite cup. So when you deal with unforgiveness, that's where you have to understand whether or not it's just a thing that has broke you, or if it's a thing that has shattered you. Because here's the thing, sometimes we feel like we're walking broken, but we're really shattered. But doesn't the scripture talk about how God deals with the broken pieces? Only He can put the broken pieces back together, right? To get an original use. That's what unforgiveness is. When we can't, when something is so broken or shattered that we can't even in our mind grab our mind to forgive this person. Were that person wrong? Absolutely. But God ain't going to judge you on what they did to you. He's going to judge you on how you treated them for what they did. Help God, but it's hey, it is what it is, though. That's how it moves.
It is. And it's interesting because I was having a chat with somebody. We were talking about like the petty meter, and when somebody does you wrong, sometimes you do want to get them back. You want them to feel your wrath. I know God said vengeance is His, but sometimes I need them to know that they really messed up. Okay, I'm trying to find that balance of how petty can I be, where Jesus is still, because back in the day, what would Jesus do? We don't got the bracelet on. And then we not thinking of what would Jesus do. We just like, how can I get them back?
Listen, I'm telling you, in the beginning, I wanted to figure out how I could get him. You know what I mean? But me getting him, what was it going to change? Because listen, Ephesians 4 was a scripture that I remember that I used to read when I first got saved. And those of us that are Christians, prayer is our language. Prayer being a prayer, right? In Ephesians 4, it says, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ has forgiven you. How are we praying and we still got unforgiveness, right? Bitterness, malice. How? It's not effective. Let me say that. It's not an effective prayer because it's filled with unforgiveness and bitterness and anger and all of those things, right? That's just what it is, sis. I know.
It's tight tonight, friends. And that's why it's a boot camp, because she getting us all together, okay? I could remember like one of the pieces you said of, I was in a situation and somebody had done me wrong. I mean, we've all had somebody do us wrong, but this particular person, I was like, God, it's done. It's over. Goodbye, And he was like, but then I forgive you. And I was like, ooh, I'm all fired up talking about how it's done and over, and Jesus got me all together in that quick little second, right? And it's hard though because they did me wrong, and God was doing me wrong too. You're right, and I'm trying to do better every day, Jesus. You, and me trying to bargain with God of how He is different from me. But if I'm saying I follow Him, I gotta really still fall in line.
You gotta follow Him. That's right. That's right.
Process.
Because here's the thing, though, it's too late in the evening now for us to be harboring or holding on to stuff.
Come on.
Stuff that we're going to miss heaven if we don't let it go. Now, that's the other question. Are they the unforgiveness that you're harboring, or not even the unforgiveness, because people can forgive, but they won't forget. The things that you are holding on to, is it worth you missing God?
No.
That's how deep it is, though, too. That's how deep, that's how serious it is to find forgiveness, and true forgiveness is forgetting.
Friends, I get in my business too sometimes when we do this. I had a relationship with someone, and they weren't a part of my childhood, and I was sad. But for whatever the reason, it wasn't a part of my childhood. And I had to get to the place to be at ease with whatever reason he chose not to be a part of my childhood, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I moved back to Philly. I lived down the street. I worked down the street from him, would not go see him because I was still hurt, you know? And when I
Mm-hmm.
finally got myself together to go and connect with him, it was great, you know, because I, in my heart, forgiven him. I said, God, whatever his reason was, I don't know. But if he is to go, I want to know that I feel at ease with where our situation is. And at that
Mm-hmm.
moment, I wasn't at ease because I was still hurt, irritated,
Uh-huh.
agitated. I didn't understand it, right? So I
Right.
finally forgave him. I'm going to visit him, you know, trying to make him part of my life and things of that sort. 2 years later, he goes on. And I say, God, I thank you for the opportunity to forgive before that happened. Fast forward some years, though, I found out something that hurt my heart about this person and their thought towards me. And I was heartbroken. I'll never forget. I was in the bathroom preparing to go to a funeral for my sister on my dad's side. And I found out this news and I was like, whew, I'm like all offended already. And again, I had forgiven him. I did. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
pass now, but now I found out this new information. And I'm like, God was like, you forgave him already. I said, God, your honor, new evidence has been brought to the courts. I did forgive him, but this new evidence that has now come, God, I don't know. And as you shared, what good would it do? You forgave him. And when you forgave him, it was everything that he had done and not done in your life. And when I let it go, I felt so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It still hurt me a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
said, God, amen. You
Because
got this.
listen to this. When you went back to him and
Mhm.
said that it was some new information, God is saying, what information? Because I don't even remember what it was. That's what he's saying. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
He didn't. He didn't. He told me, Jennifer, you had already forgiven this man. This man is now going on. Let it go. And that's it too. Sometimes, friends, we forgive and then we find out something new. We got to remember that us as humans, we are flawed. We are always going to mess up. There's some things that I could say and somebody could receive it wrong. And I would hurt a fly because they get on my nerves. They got to go out of my house. But my intent is not to harm anybody. I want to
Mm-hmm.
love you, help you, get you connected to the next thing. But if you're not in the right space to receive what I'm saying, or I'm saying it and it's not received well, it could go left real quick, right?
Yeah.
But when we have
Yeah.
that conversation to find out, I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't your intent. I forgive you and we can move on. But even
Listen.
that's hard.
Listen, let me tell you this. I'm sorry to cut you off, but something just came in a meditation that God, when I meditate in the morning, God has said to me, Carmel, stop being mad at people that are not capable of giving you what you've given to them. They're not capable. Some people are not capable to reciprocate the things that we have reciprocated to them. They can't give us love if they've never seen love. They don't even know what it looks like, what it sounds like, how it feels, because they have not ever experienced it. So if they're not capable to
Come on.
reciprocate it, we definitely have to know that we're doing it out of the kindness of our heart. Right? Because
Right.
we look for people to be able to give us what we, do unto others as we have others do unto you, right? That's what we say. But what happens if they don't? Then they're not capable.
Ah,
Everybody's not capable. People,
lesson here.
listen,
Yes.
loyalty.
Yes.
Loyalty. You're looking for somebody to be loyal to you who has never seen loyalty in their
Woo-hoo.
whole life. You know what that is? That's because we have been taught that love and loyalty go together, but it doesn't. Just because a person loves you don't mean that they're loyal to you. But here's the thing, and some people will be loyal to you and not love you, but because they are reaping something from being loyal to you, then they'll be loyal to you. Listen, Scripture says that Jesus knew that Peter and Judas was going to betray him and deny him,
Yeah.
right? Now
Yeah.
listen to this. I know they loved him because they left everything that they knew, their family, their cattle, their job. They left to follow him. That says, I love you. But look what they did. They still were not loyal to them.
Mm.
See, so we have to understand that sometimes people, Stephen, and when he killed my mother, he was on drugs. He had started smoking dope, all kinds of stuff. He had no capable. He would not have even been capable to give me the apology that I thought that I should get because you took my one and only, right? He wasn't capable. But here's what happened. He died 2 years ago and sent me a letter.
Mm.
The letter said, if you have this letter, Carmel, I have died. He said, thank you for coming to see me and thank you for forgiving me.
Mm.
That letter came to my house. See, because when I went there, he wanted me to keep coming back, keep coming back. And I said, Stephen, I didn't come for a relationship. I came to give you forgiveness.
Mm.
I didn't have no desire to be, you know what I mean, to go see him and stuff. I didn't hate him anymore. I didn't need to know why you did what you did to my mom. I just needed that part because he was already made it right. He already done accepted Christ. He already done asked God to forgive him. And I'm on my way to hell. Look, preaching, teaching at the church every time the doors open, but still got unforgiveness in my heart. We got to think about that.
Help us, Lord.
Help us. Absolutely. Help us.
Mm.
But we got to do it, though, because we can't get in without it. And then unforgiveness going to keep you out of the kingdom.
Keep out the kingdom. And you look, they say the just will scarcely make it in. How
Come on. Come on.
Live on both sides of the fence? We got to be careful, too.
I'm telling you, listen, somebody sore because I know it hurts my legs if you, even when you trying to straddle on a exercise machine, it's tough.
Somebody so hilarious. Yes, Belinda, this is good. Love is not loyalty.
No.
Can we just sit there for a second longer? That was because we do expect sometimes we give and we feel like the people is going to give it back, and sometimes they're not the people to give it back. It's somebody else that you don't even know down the line, maybe years from now, of how you get it back. And sometimes we keep on expecting from that person, and they don't even have the capacity.
Ain't even capable to give it back. Look, we giving family members money, and if they're borrowing money from us, why do we think we're gonna get it back? They're not even capable of taking care of their own finances. How are they gonna give me my money back? We can't be mad. We saints. We got to let it go.
Gotta let it go.
Love. I'm telling you, I learned that lesson about love and loyalty. We just can't. And if they're not capable of doing it, why are we even expecting it? God always supplies our need. He'll give it back, and it'll be better than what we gave to them or more.
Better than what we gave to them. You know, it's funny when you say that because I think of my nieces. Don't reach out. They be like, "Can I borrow?" And in my head, I'm like, "That borrow means nothing. Just give it to them, Jennifer. Because if you need food, you need to get from A to B. I'm going to help you to get there, so you're gonna get a little straight." But sometimes they don't have the capacity.
Yeah, they're not capable. Nope.
Today. Not
capable. That's just like even in relationships that we've been in. We've desired for people, listen, I just want somebody to love me the way I love them. What if they've never seen love? They're not capable. But you know what the problem is? We're so quick with our God-given heart to commit to people that have yet to commit to us. Right? We're willing to give all of us, and they ain't even gave us a finger.
Oop.
Help us today, God.
Help us, because, friends, as we are coming into cuffing season, make sure that you ain't committing to somebody that ain't committing to you, boo, because you're going to have a roommate that don't have the capacity to take care of their own roof, and they got to need your roof, or they do have the capacity, but it ain't what you're supposed to be in, because though it's good doesn't mean it's always good for you.
No. And look, think about this. Even with forgiveness, some people don't have the capability to forgive you in the strength that you want them to give to you, right? But guess what God's saying? All I need you to do is forgive so that I can forget. It doesn't change the fact that it happened. But didn't he say, I'll never put more on you than you can bear? See? He never does. He got an answer. You know, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because I realized that it took me some time. I just told you, it took me 14 years to get to this point. But listen, it's something that I'll share because I believe that unforgiveness is the root to a lot of things that we are seeing in our churches today because we've not forgiven daddies, mamas, sisters, brothers in our personal families. And then we come together and try to build a spiritual family with our unforgiveness. And it spills out.
Yes, yes. And because it's always a big debate on he won't give us more and we can bear and things of that sort. If it does seem too much to bear, that's when we're supposed to go to him. And then
He
he
said,
helps
cast your cares upon me.
and we miss that part sometimes. And you feel like God just is too much for me. And if it is, you got to let him know. You got to cry out for help. You got to say, Lord, please help me. What do I need to do to be able to balance this out just a little bit? Because right now, I'm feeling like I'm ready to throw in a towel.
Yes.
So if you're feeling like it's too much, reach on
Yeah.
out to him. Hey, Mama Water, she said cuffing season question. Cuffing season is like during the winter months, people looking for somebody warm to be underneath for short-term partnership, love ship, fun ship. That's cuffing season, Mama Water. Okay, yes. People are looking for somebody, and sometimes they're investing in some stuff that they know is not going to lead them further in those 3 months. And some people got a nice rotation where they got a couple people during the season to make sure they good from week to week, month to month. But yes, that's what cuffing season is.
Mm-hmm. They got a consistency going on.
And even in those moments, let's talk about that too, because we get in relationships and situationships, and then we're disappointed because it didn't work out. We have to be able to forgive ourselves as well.
Yes, come on. That's right. Because you know what we do? We go in it, like I just said, expecting them to give to us what we're already willing to give to them. You know what the question I often ask myself, friends? I oftentimes ask myself, why am I not more than enough? Because we try to do more when we already more than enough. You know why it is? Because again, somebody ain't gonna like it, but listen, I don't need to know my worth. I need to know how valuable I am.
Oh.
Because see, worth to me says that there is a price tag to what you can do to make me give you what you want. But when I recognize that I am valuable and there is no price to me, right? Then you're going to work harder.
Yes.
To get to me.
You're going to work harder. And then you got to be careful to not share too much of what you got in your cabinets.
Come on.
Because once they know.
And then he going to be like, please forgive me over and over and over. And if we can't forgive, if we can't forgive ourselves and we can't forgive the people, right, that wronged us, how in the world? But we can go give some joker over and over and over and over. Right?
And over. And it's for our brothers too, because y'all doing the same thing. I was talking to a friend, he was talking about how in the dating scene, sometimes they just want his money, So sometimes the guys are giving over and over too and not getting in return. You gotta know your value too, sir. You gotta know your value too, brother, sister.
That's it. There we go. We done got clean on that. But forgiveness. True forgiveness, y'all, is forgetting. I'm telling you, it's freedom. It's freedom. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Listen, I left that prison so free. I got in my car and I laughed instead of cried. I laughed instead of crying. And here goes something else. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Listen. Because I went there and did that and freed him, I freed myself, right?
Yeah.
But in freeing myself, he, in return, I was able to walk out of there free. But he had to walk back to his cell still bound. See what I mean?
Yeah.
He was in that prison for 14 years. He hadn't had a visit in 10 years.
Wow.
And his family lives 10 miles up the road from the prison. Nobody will go see him. Nobody goes see him. That's why I'm saying it's doable.
It's doable.
You just got to be willing to do it. But they touched me. But they beat me. But they did this. But they did that. But can cause you so much harm when it comes to judgment in the
Mm,
end time, when we got to stand in front of him for ourselves.
mm.
But they did that. But it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. You'll
Mm.
be your own superstar. You're going to see your whole life spinning, before you. And he going to show you the stuff that he had to forgive you for. Right? Because he said we're going to be judged on what deeds, every word, thought, and deed.
Yeah, yeah. Not a movie
Grace
I
and
have to see,
mercy.
Jesus. Not a movie I have to see. I just thank you. Ah.
Yeah.
So what does forgiveness look like? Does it mean just saying sorry? I forgive you. What does it
I
mean?
think,
Do I hold it against them? Do I keep bringing it up? Like, what does?
see, when you keep bringing it up, you haven't forgiven.
Oh,
That's not true forgiveness. True forgiveness is when you have said it out of your whole heart and
mm-hmm,
you mean it and you have no desire to go back and revisit. Think
mm-hmm,
about what that would feel like to you if you were on the other end. If
yeah,
you asked somebody to forgive you and they kept bringing it back,
mm-hmm,
how would you feel?
mm-hmm,
Because that's what I think about.
mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. And people say that, and I tell people all the time, I've forgiven them, but I haven't forgotten. Okay, well, you ain't did true forgiveness.
Mm.
That's why you can't move forward. That's why you still struggling in issues like different things like that, because you've yet to give true forgiveness to that person.
Mm.
Right? So,
Because if I forgive but keep bringing it up, that wasn't true forgiveness.
nope.
If I apologize and keep doing it,
That's like asking for forgiveness and repenting. When repenting means we're supposed to turn away from it, and forgiveness is just saying, Lord, I'm struggling with this, so please, you ain't finished with me yet. That's what I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
oh,
Yeah. I'm telling you, forgetting and forgetting it, you no longer have to struggle with the turmoil or the
mm,
hurt or the pain or the anguish that's attached to it.
mm,
Right? You don't have that to worry about.
mm.
Because that's what we do. We saying we forgive somebody, but we still walking around with the anger. You know what I mean? It's dangling off of us.
Dangling off of us.
If I just another transparent thing, this happened in my first marriage, and in my first marriage it ended, and I had to forgive him. See,
Mm,
but God had already given me the gift of forgiveness when when the man killed my mom. So see, he had already prepared me for when I was going to go through another hardship where forgiveness was going to be needed.
mm.
And that was hard. You talking about hard? I'm like, God, not again. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
humiliation, all of that. Because I was married to a minister, so the humiliation of divorce, the separation, and the get remarried, and the be in the same church with the woman, and y'all in there like I'm not even there. You know what I'm saying? That I'm telling you that forgiveness at 17 is
Yeah.
what God knew I needed at 27, 28. You understand what I'm saying? He knew I needed that.
Mm.
That's how I was able to walk and be in the same place with you and watch the two of you, and it didn't even faze me.
Friends, that's true forgiveness. Because this is real stories. I've heard this a couple of times where it didn't work out, a divorce happened, and you had to still see those babies where you worship that. And God is like, I didn't release you from this church. So you got to come. You up there like, God, oh, these people, God, help my heart, God.
But guess what happened though? They were worried more about me because I wasn't displaying the actions that they thought I was going to display. See how God do?
Yep. Yep.
It was them old mothers that will pull me to the side, and say, baby, hold on.
Yes.
Keep it together. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Those was those mothers that will pull you to the side and be like,
Uh-huh.
don't you do that. Don't you do that. You walk in, you'll forget. You know what I mean? You walk in it.
I
Yeah.
went I went to my great aunt and uncle had a church in Chester, New Jerusalem. And on Sunday, they had a mother's board service. And it was so great to see the mothers because they are almost like a lost cause in some churches because they would pull you to the side to give you some love, to give you some direction, to help you along the way because they've been through a couple of things and knew they was talking about. And when you were saying that of how we need that, we need somebody to be able to help and guide us because we think we could do it on our own or we could keep going without forgiving a person and don't know that it's killing us on the inside.
Yeah.
And our blessings of things we're supposed to be doing. But when you have that, mentor, that older figure that can help us and say, and some young people can help us as well, of saying, sweetie, let that ride. Is it worth it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's luggage, it's baggage, it's holding you back. It's holding you back. Because I can remember before I even went to see him, how I had moments where I would be still grieving my mom, and it could be like 10 years now, you know what I mean? And I'm still at that place when all I had to do was forgive him. And it went all away.
Whew. And that's something. My mom passed from health and things of that sort, but it's been 20 years, but still, every so often, the thoughts that come to your mind
about it.
One, maybe I should have did some more research. Yeah, I got a who, whatever. But she was tired. She was ready to go. We let her go. But in your case, every so often when you grieving that loss and that moment, it's like, you also remember how it happened because that comes too in the process. And that's a wave.
Mm-hmm. But listen to this, though. Now, let me tell you this. When I, again, being 17, I wasn't saved or anything, but I remembered to pray and I said, God, I pray that she did not suffer, right?
Yeah.
Because at this point, all we knew was a fire. So you're just thinking, oh my God, the fire got her. But then to be truthful and honest, we did have to have a closed casket, but only one side of her was burned. But I told you, put her in the bed and set the bed on fire. When the fire department found my mom, she was on her way. She had got out of the bed, crawled trying to get to her balcony door, and she had asthma. She did not die from the things that he did to her. She died from smoke inhalation. That's what her thing was. When I tell you, that thing made me feel so much better because she was my everything. To know that she did not suffer the things that can you imagine 2 weeks of watching in a courtroom, and you got to see the pictures and you see the things that he did to her, and you know what I mean? So it was torture, but look what God did. He allowed her strength to get out of that bed. So that the fire wouldn't burn her, because that's what would have caused her suffer. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So to some it might seem like a little thing, but to me that made me feel so much better. So again, you can do it. If I can do it, you can. But it all comes to you wanting God to give you the gift of forgiveness, because it can't come. Everybody don't have it. They don't. Yeah, some people will harbor on. Look, people be mad. I got a girlfriend who's married with her dad. Her dad is almost 70 years old, and here you is 50 years old, and you're still mad with him. And guess what I told her? I said that he's still your dad.
Yep.
Don't change.
It doesn't change.
Don't change.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change. And again, the one I was sharing was my dad, and I just so grateful. Because it does not change. You still have to go through with that. And I hope you can forgive if you can. Because life is short, friends. That's another thing. I used to be here today, going tomorrow. It's here today, going today.
Yeah.
So, friends, as we prepare for the last quarter of the year,
come on.
Life is short. If you need to give somebody a ring, you know what? I'm sorry. And sometimes if I did anything to offend you, because I just feel like something shifted and changed, I want us to talk about it. I want us to process through whatever that is.
And Hey, and listen to this. Think about this. God always deals with me in illustration. You just said we're in the last quarter. In the last quarter of any game, whether it be basketball, football, or whatever, if
Mhm.
you're in the last quarter, what you're trying to do is correct whatever you did not do in the first three quarters.
Come on.
Right? So whatever plays you didn't make or you
Yes.
messed up or you wasn't certain about, you're in your last quarter. This is either win or lose. So you either going to forgive and forget or you going to miss out on eternity, right? So that's that last quarter thing just jumped in my spirit.
I
You
like
just
that.
messed me up with that thing. So that think about that. And we have to be game changers. Let me
Mm.
say that. We had to be game changers. Michael Jordan was a game changer. They could be down 30 points. He could be on the bench. The minute they put him in the game, he changed the whole
Yes.
game. So
Mhm.
we have to be game changers. We don't need to be bench warmers. We don't need to be cheerleaders. We
Mhm.
need to be the player that's in the game making
Yes.
the plays.
And friends, when it comes to our lives, we are the player.
Come on.
So if you're not
Come
on
on.
that court, if you're not on that field, if you're not on the ice,
Come
you know,
on.
we done touch all sports. If you're not on the court,
Nobody's fault but
you
your
guys
own.
still losing.
You can't blame nobody else.
You can't blame nobody else because you already gave up. You already
Yeah,
defeated your own self.
yeah,
You got
yeah.
to at least get out and give a try.
Yeah, because listen, we're all sitting on the sideline. Everybody gonna get a chance to go in. It's what you gonna do when you get in.
That's it. That's it. I
Yeah,
can think of a time you go to the court to play basketball. After you know it, somebody else is coming over like, hey, come on, let's do a one-on-one.
there
Somebody else
you
is
go.
making a team. When you get out there, support comes. You win
Come
some,
on,
you lose
come
some,
on.
but you learn in the process.
Yes, yes, yes,
Mm.
yes,
Belinda said, yes, that goes with breaking generational curse. We
yes,
change situations and circumstances.
yes,
Oh,
man.
can we go here for a second? Because generational
Yes.
curses cause us to be on we don't want to forgive because like my mom and them, they did all these things and now I gotta put up with it, God. So in what ways do we need to forgive this area, would you say?
What generational curses?
Yes, because we feel like, it's because our forefathers did it. That's why I gotta do it for now. And sometimes they
Well,
were doing the best they knew.
let me tell you something that I say. I tell my kids all that they're all, you know how people always say, well, this is how I've always been. My grandmama did it like this. Well,
Mhm.
guess what? Because your grandmother cooked her greens this way, don't mean when I cook mine that I gotta cook them exactly like hers to make them taste good. You
Mhm.
understand? And
Yeah.
just because a person they've been like that all their life, it doesn't mean that they're right.
Yes.
Because sometimes we get caught up in generational curses. Listen, my mama didn't forgive my daddy because her mama didn't forgive her daddy,
Come
and her
on.
mama didn't forgive her daddy.
Come
So you
on.
don't know how to teach love to me. But
Mm.
my mother, I'm telling you, my mother never allowed me to see my father and not speak to him, and would tell me, if you see him, you better talk to him. He better not tell me that you did not see him, because she was the one that brought you. Talking about generational curses. I was the first one to get married out of 5 generations. The rest of my grandmother, my mothers, and them, they always just lived with men. And my mother said, no, you won't.
Mm.
Hmm. So I had to. I'm gonna think what I did is I think if we had to talk about forgiveness and generational curses, is recognizing that the way they did it does not mean that it was the right way.
Oh.
Because my grandmother that raised me after my mom got killed, she
Mhm.
wasn't saved. She never was, but she was the first missionary I ever seen, because she would feed everybody. Everybody could come and stay at our house, right? She was the
Mhm.
first missionary. And guess what she would do? Make me get dressed and go to church. And she would sit in the window because our house was beside the church and
Mhm.
listen to the preacher outside the church, but make sure that I was inside the church.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. That's that game changer we were just talking about.
Game changer. We have to be the one to step up and change the situation.
Yeah.
If everybody got that crab barrel mentality, but it's sometimes when you get out the barrel, you find out, oh wait, there's more to life than
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
You only know your block. But when you go to a new block, when you go to a new neighborhood, prayerfully there's no beef amongst the neighborhoods and things of that sort. But you get to experience something different.
Yeah, sure do.
And we have to be able to break that cycle, friends. We can break the cycle. If you do want to go to college, go ahead and go. If you do want to go to a trade school, go ahead and go. I was talking to a young lady one time, and she was sharing how she was going to go to college because her mom wanted to go to college. She would have been the first one to go. And I was asking, I said, well, do you want to go to college? She said, I want to be a flight attendant. And with that, you don't have to go to college. So we also want to have a conversation of, are we wasting time and money on something that you don't want to do to please somebody else? Are you doing something that you want to do? Because you could break cycles being a flight attendant. Why? You're able to take some family members on a plane if they've never been. Areas and things like that.
That's so true because listen, my daughter, I went to high school and got a high school diploma. My daughter ended up having to get a GED because she wanted to show off in school, but she just had her very first son, 16 years old, graduate from high school at 16 and started college August the 28th at 16 years old. And got accepted in a pre-med veterinarian program, he's already into his sophomore year because he took college courses. My daughter broke that cycle with him. She don't play about education.
Yeah. So friends, we can forgive, forget, and break curses, okay?
Yes, we can. But true forgiveness is forgetting. If you don't forget, you haven't truly forgave.
I know. We stayed when we first started, but I mean, you saying it now don't make it no better. I mean, we still don't want to receive it over the time is what I'm saying.
I know, but I'm going to be praying that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we need because, friends, I tell you, I had to forgive some people too. And sometimes you got to forgive them without them even acknowledging that they were wrong.
Yes.
They were right in what they did.
Because it ain't about them. Remember, he's going to judge you on what you did. He ain't going to judge them on what they did to you. It has nothing to do with you.
He's going to judge me.
Yeah.
And friends, is it worth it?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
This was good. What's something that you want us to walk away? You said a lot of different nuggets and things like that. But is there anything else you want us to know?
I'm going to leave you with this one thing that the Lord just reminded me of that he gave me a couple of weeks ago is be sure to hold on what is constant and not worry so much about what is consistent. A constant thing will be there when you leave, whether you go, whether the environment change. Constant. Remember that God is constant. It doesn't matter where we go or what we do. He stays constant. It's those consistent things that come in and out, in and out. And if you think about it, those are the things that take our focus. They distract us. But I need you to listen. Pay attention to what's constant. Those constant people, those constant things, those things that are solid. They not gonna move, right? So even in your going through your forgiveness stage, grab a hold of something that's constant because you might need to hold it a little bit tighter and you don't want it to move. But because it's been there and it's not going to move, it'll give you that sturdy, you know what I mean? It'll give you that security that you can do it.
Whew. You dropped the mic on that one. Constant.
Not consistent. Consistency is good though, but I'd rather have a constant thing than something that's consistent.
Whew.
What the Bible say? God is a constant help. He don't change. He don't move. He don't leave us. We do him. So hold on to that constant thing, not the consistent things.
Yes.
They good, but they ain't. Look, you can't put your all in it.
Friends, that was good.
Yeah,
that was good. I like it. I had to look it up. Like consistent things may start and stop. Don't vary, but they start and stop. But they constant doesn't stop.
It doesn't keep moving, don't it? Stays right there.
Thank you, God, for being a constant in my life.
Thank you.
Because there's some people that consistently come in and leave.
But there's some constant people. Hold on.
Come on. And for that, I am grateful.
Well,
Oh,
thank you for having me.
I thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was good, friends. I do hope that you got something that was amazing to help us keep on going as we forgive and
And
forget.
forget.
It is possible. And if you missed a testimony, y'all better go back and catch the replay. Okay, because that was good. I can't wait to listen to it again too when I prepare for the rewind. But this was good. I thank you so much for joining
You're
us.
so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, anytime. May you have a great
Anytime.
evening. Oh, friends,
Yeah.
forgive and forget. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's segment of Forgive and Forget. It is not always easy, friends, but guess what? It is worth it. And there is a benefit. I want to just share with you 5 R's of forgiveness. The first one is accept responsibility. You want to identify and acknowledge that you were wrong. That you wronged the person, saying that I was wrong, okay? Next, you want to express regret. Be remorseful and show your regret for wronging the person. You really must be sincere and mean it when you say, I am sorry. You want to have genuine repentance. Repent means to turn away. You want to express to the one you have wronged that you will not do it again. You want to share, I will do my best to never do this again. We got to try, okay? Next is reconcile. You want to express the desire to heal the relationship between you and the person you have wronged. I want to earn your respect and friendship back. I want to get back in honor with you. Last is make restitution. You may need to do some things to make things right again. So, what can I do to make it right? So, friends, you can forgive and forget. It is possible. I thank each and every one of you for tuning in on tonight. I know that you got something that was good. Be sure to join us. Actually, first, don't forget our quote of the day. Forgiveness is the needle that knows how to mend. Again, forgiveness is the needle that knows how to mend. Be sure to join us on next week as we have Stable Foundation with Dr. Deshauna Williams. Yes, this is boot camp. Tonight we're talking about forgiving and forgetting. Next week we're going to talk about how to have a stable foundation as we prepare for the last quarter of this year. Oh, friends, it is truly, truly an honor to be able to host this every Monday, to be able to share with you all and talk about some good things. Again, take note. What was good for you? What did you hear that's going to cause you to make some changes in your lifestyle of how you forgive others, how you give others grace as God gives us grace? Friends, I love you. I love you. I love you. If you do want to be a guest, we are opening it up for those that want to be a guest. Be sure to email me at info@chozencounselors.com. I've been getting some great friends that have been reaching out, and I'm so excited to be able to have some new potential guests on. Again, I thank you so much for joining. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate you, and thank you for stopping by to Jen Cares. Until next time, I love you. Have an amazing week, and forgive and forget. Love you.
Friends, we thank you for joining Jen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chozencounselors.com. That's Chozen with a Z, to stay in the know and most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode as we specialize in bringing the community to you.